Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So we're going to do our analysis for Saturday's racing, but I'm actually going to do it in the order that I wasn't initially going to do. I'm going to do Sandown, Musselburgh and Leopardstown. The reason for that is you may get halfway through this video having listened to Sandown and Musselburgh and want to completely ignore Leopardstown because it may well be off. It's subject to another inspection tomorrow morning at 8 AM. I'm recording this at 2 o'clock PM on Friday. The written analysis has already gone out to premium members. With all of these, I'm just going to go over them again for premium and pro rate members because you may prefer to hear me talk about it rather than read, which is absolutely fine. In terms of free members, you'll see this on Saturday, so by the time you can watch this, Leopardstown may have been abandoned. I'm hoping none of the others are abandoned. Or cancelled, or whatever the words we're meant to use now. I think it's cancelled, isn't it? Abandoned means it was halfway through and then cancelled, I believe, or stopped, or whatever. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to start looking at Sandown, Musselburgh, and then Leopardstown. Just another thought or information for premium, for free members. Sorry, what you see here is not our ratings. This is not all you see if you're a premium member or pro member. You see lots of different statistics, and they're also in ratings order. At the moment, when you look at them, you see them in alphabetical order. In case you hadn't noticed that, they're always in alphabetical order. This is alphabetical order. I have left one race open so that you can see it in ratings order. You can see what else you get. This is ratings order. So now you can see they're not in alphabetical order, the horses. They're in RTR rank order. That's our ratings order. And you can see all of the statistics that you can now see. So we'll come back to that race in a bit. Let's kick off then with the 125 at Sandown, the 2.5 mile novices handicap chase, where I like El Granjero here. You can see that I've highlighted El Granjero. I'm going back to 2 runs ago, when he finished 4th in a race that I think was a very good race, behind Hidden History, Theatre Man, Champagne Twist. El Granjero was 4th, sorry. I think that was a very good effort. Now, it was next time that I feel he disappointed a little bit when he finished 2nd in a race that was better than what he's running in again here, granted. I just felt he should have been able to win that, and I'm kind of happy to give him make up excuses for that. Not make up excuses, but give him a reason why he got beat there. He was given the wrong ride, in my opinion. This horse needs to be ridden forward. He wants to be prominent, right up there with the pace, sitting in, 2nd or 3rd probably at worst in this 6-runner affair. He doesn't want to be out the back. All his good runs have come when he's been really prominent and trying to either make the running or being right up there with the pace. Last time out at Exeter, they changed tactics. They dropped him out the back. That didn't work, especially with the winner making all of the running. So in my opinion, I think there was excuses for him and he got beat by the right horse. So if we take all of that into account, we could say that he was not an unlucky loser, but maybe should have gone a bit closer. He only went up £1 for that, and he's dropped in class here, in my opinion. And what I mean by that is, although this is still a class 3, if we look at the rivals that he's up against, the official ratings, next highest is 118. If we go back to his last race at Exeter, the horse that beat him was 121. The horse that was 3rd was 123. In actual fact, all of those were higher rated, officially higher rated rivals than what he's taking on here. We go back to the run at Aintree. Again, he ran off 125. He got beat by a horse rated 125, 129, 129. He beat 2 horses rated 123 and 122. This is just... Yes, he's got more weight to carry, but it's against inferior rivals. And I feel if he's able to be given a better ride in terms of goes forward, like Richard rode him a couple of times recently, including at Aintree and at Stratford, when he knew he needed to be right up there with the pace, I feel this is the time that he can go, we've just got more ability than these rivals, and be able to just keep rowing away, and I think he'll be able to hold these off. I think this is an easier race. Richard Patrick's back on board, and he can go, be ridden better than last time, and I think he'll take all of the beating. Let's have a look at the odds for this race. We'll load it up now. This is live. You can actually see the clock in the bottom right hand corner. 2:07. El Granjero is available at 7-2. I think he should be favourite. I think this is an easier race. He's got, he's been running well. It doesn't look the best of races in terms of these horses aren't massively improving, flying up the handicap, all in form. In actual fact, none of these won last time out. So, yeah, I think El Granjero should be favourite and should be the one to beat here. Let's move on to the 2:02 at Sandown, which is the 2-mile handicap chase, which actually features last year's winner and runner-up. And the runner-up is the horse that we think will take all of the beating here. And it's very interesting to see this horse already being backed. Let's load up the odds. You can see that he's down here now. 6s, 11-2. Dr. TJ Eckelberg. I really like this horse for this race, to be fair. Third last time out at Windsor, behind Highlands Legacy and Torneo. Torneo had previously run really well at, where did he go? He went all around the outside, if I remember. At Newbury. He'd also finished second at Cheltenham. Fourth at Newbury in a race against Mighty Bandit, Highlands Legacy. That form is just so strong. He then went to Windsor, got beat by Highlands Legacy. Highlands Legacy has that Mighty Bandit Mamba number 5 form that we really like. Dr. TJ Eckelberg finished third, never near a third that day, under Connor Ring. Connor does know how to ride this horse, and I think that's crucial on Dr. TJ Eckelberg. Whereas last year, in this race, Adam Wedge actually rode, and I think he gave the horse too much to do. If you watched the running that day, he was far too far back, came on really strongly, was closing all the way to the line against Gunsight Ridge. Now, Gunsight Ridge returns off the same handicap mark, 142. Dr. TJ Eckelberg returns off a £4 lower mark. So he's lower for being beaten half a length in a race where the third placed horse that day was Etalon. Etalon was running that day off a mark of 135. He's now rated 145. The race was probably a good race as well. And he was given too much to do, Dr. TJ Eckelberg, that day, under Adam Wedge. Connor knows what to do. I think they've probably looked at this race and tried to targeted this race and think that, yeah, they can go and make amends for what happened last year. It's going to be on soft. I don't think he minds soft. He actually, after finishing second in this race last year, went to Chepstow and won off a mark of 125. So a £5 higher mark. He doesn't really want the soft ground, in my opinion. The heavy going, in my opinion. The soft is absolutely perfect. I feel like he's the one to beat in this race. And at 6s, I think it's a good price. I really do. I think this is back to a level that he can win off. Back to a handicap mark he can win off. He didn't run badly off 130 at the end of last season when 5th in the Red Rum. That's probably their plan this year. Come here, win this race, get in that race at Aintree. They won't get in at the moment, off 120. Win this race, go to Aintree, potentially off a lower mark still. You know, if he gets in off 125 this year, it could be a lower mark than when he ran a really good race in the Red Rum last year. So that would be the plan for me for Dr. TJ Eckelberg. Win this, go to Aintree, and hopefully this is what that race that they use to win, considering what happened last year. We then move on to the 240. Now, interesting, I am prepared to take on the favourite here, Kitzbühel. I want to take him on with Carla Conti, who is currently available at 9-4. Last time out, Kitzbühel won at Sandown. Over 3 miles. Good performance. But everything went right. Everything went right that day. Jumped beautifully, made all the running, won it comfortably. All those in behind made mistakes. They made mistake after mistake. They got outpaced. They looked in trouble. You know, it was I think it was exaggerated how easy he won that due to the efforts from the others. I thought they were so disappointing afterwards, their efforts, that, yeah. I mean, Salva was all over the place, massively bounced back at Windsor next time when he just jumped a lot better. We've actually got a bit of Sandown form for Kitzbühel, and he couldn't beat Blue King Daru and Salva that day. I'm not sure. I think they're good graded horses. I think Carla Conti's better than that. And considering she gets the £7 mare's allowance, I think that's, too much. She was a good horse last year, chasing home the likes of Amsterdam and July Flower. Then probably got asked to do too much in the mare's hurdle. Over fences, perfect. 2 from 2, 1 over 2 mile 5, comfortably. Jade de Grugy was back in third that day. Yes, the Mullins horses have stepped forward for their debut efforts, but she was still behind Carla Conti. And then Carla Conti won again, beating Cargès. Again, the Mullins horses are stepping forward for the first effort. But she didn't just beat Cargès. She didn't beat her by 4, 5, 6 lengths. She beat her by 16 lengths. That's a huge performance. And I think Cargès and Jade de Grugy are better than those horses that Kitzbühel beat last time out. I think both of those are better than the likes of Thomas More, Wendigo, Salva, Blue King Daru. And I don't think there's anywhere near... To be honest, I think Carla Conti's shown better form than Kitzbühel over the fences. Just in my opinion, I would go... Carla Conti's got the form. And yet, she's the second I think I'd have these joint favourites. I really would. It's not a bad race, to be fair. 6 Mile Bridge has done nothing wrong. Miami Magic was a good winner last time out at Cheltenham. But I think Carla Conti is the bet in this race. And I think she can beat Kitzbühel for Willie Mullins. Staying at Sandown, we move on to the 310, which you notice I've left the ratings open. So that you can see a little bit more about the ratings and how they look. This is my selection in that race. Henri II, no reason to take him on. I said before his last time out effort that I thought they were going to ride him carefully over that 2.5 mile trip, coming back here as their main target. He probably ran above what they were thinking. As in, he performed better than arguably what they were potentially aiming for. I think they were trying to win the race still with Sonagino, who with a clear run would have won the race. And I think they were looking for a decent run from Henri II, staying on nicely at the end, finishing 3rd or 4th, sitting on the same mark. He didn't. He actually finished 2nd, beating a short head. Handicapper was very kind, only pushed him up £1. I think that was kind in the fact that I thought he might have gone up more for that, and then turned up here with not as good a chance as what he does. Ran in this race last year off 133, went off the 9-4 favourite, finished 2nd. I don't feel he wanted that real heavy going. The soft ground is fine. I think they've planned a return to this race. Last year they won the 15 grand Pertemps qualifier before going to this race and finishing 2nd in the 56 grand feature handicap. This year they ran him in a seniors handicap for 10 grand and got beat. Hopefully to do the opposite, finish 2nd in the less lucrative race and win the more lucrative race. I think he's the one to beat. His Sandown form is rock solid. He is the favourite, but it's there to be seen. And I feel like he's the one to beat. In terms of one of the main rivals would definitely be Red Dirt Road, who beat him last year. Red Dirt Road is still £6 higher. Henri II is actually £2 lower. That's a £7 swing. It's £8 swing. And considering Henri II went off favourite last year, I think he'll go off sub-3s, Henri II here. So if you can get 100 to 30, I actually think that's going to be a great price. Moving on, 342 at Sandown. Just wait for it to load. The 3 mile handicap chase. Now, this race is interesting because at the head of the market, we've got Mr. Vango at 13 to 8, 7 to 4. My question would be, what is there to gain for winning that horse with Mr. Van Gogh? 26 grand to win it. Do you really want to win that? Off a mark of 155. If you win, you're going to go up to maybe 160. 160, could he win a Bet365 off 160? I wouldn't be as confident. Could he win another Midlands National off 160? Not sure. Midlands National's worth 90 grand to win. The Bet365 Gold Cup and other races are just worth more money than winning this. I don't get the appeal of winning this for me. I think they should be looking at getting this horse beat, getting him dropped a couple of pound, personally. He's a previous winner of a London National over 3.5. Even that was worth the 26, the same as this is. But if you win that, don't you then look at the Bet365 Gold Cup? Yeah, I'm not sure that he's going to be completely trying here. It feels a strange entry. And they might use the distance. They might say, look, he needed further as their excuse. As such, I'm looking to take him on. Who am I looking to take him on with? Pick Rock. 2 runs ago was sent off 6-1 for a Hennessy. Coral Gold Cup, I'm still calling it the Hennessy. A good Hennessy, didn't get involved, dropped out the back after starting slowly, ran on quite nicely. Last time out, granted, that was disappointing off 135. Did go off, 3-1 favourite that day, made a mistake at the 4th last, and Ben Jones was very quick to look after him after that. His previous effort at Huntingdon, a beginner's chase, comfortable win. Considering he went from a beginner's chase straight into a Coral Gold Cup, kind of demonstrates that they clearly like this horse. They think he's very good. He only went off 4s last year for a novice champion handicap chase over 3 mile. Went off 17-2 at the Cheltenham Festival. I think this horse is better than what he's shown so far. And in a race that I can see question marks about a few of them, maybe this is the time to catch him. And I'm hoping that he can go very close here in this race against Mr. Van Gogh. I'm happy to take on Mr. Van Gogh on the basis that he doesn't want to be winning this. Let's have a look at the prices. I forgot to show you. 9-2, 4s. I mean, he's gone off about that price for better races. I think that's a good price. That's Sandown done. Let's move to Musselburgh. So if you're not interested in Musselburgh and Leopardstown's been abandoned, you can stop the video now. We will go to Musselburgh and talk about the 143. Can't get away from Affadil here. I made a whole email. I sent this out to Premium and Pro members looking at 2 for Musselburgh. Sent it about a week ago, maybe longer than that even. The 2 horses at Musselburgh. Both of them have been declared. Both of them are shorter prices than what they were. Both of them are going to take all of the beating, in my opinion. The first one is Affadil with Freddie Keithley on board, taking 7 off. Now, Affadil ran in this race last year. Finished second behind Welsh Charger. Under Freddie Gingell. Ran a really good race. Went off the 3-1 favourite. Just got caught late on. Possibly did a bit too much. That came off a mark of 120. And Freddie took £3 off. So he was effectively running off a mark of 117. This year, Affadil returns off a £1 lower mark. And Freddie Keithley takes 7 off. So he is running off 112. Compared to the 117 that he ran off last year. So he was effectively £5 lower. We also backed this horse at Musselburgh in the 2 mile handicap last time out. Ran a huge race. And Olive got it completely wrong. I wasn't happy with the ride that Olive Nichols gave Affadil. I thought it was a terrible ride. And that was my only concern about this Scottish County Hurdle. Was she going to keep the ride? She hasn't. He should have won off 119 with a £5 claimer on. I'd be disappointed if he doesn't win off 119 with a £7 claimer on. I really think he's that well handicapped. He's better than a 119 horse. He should be running in races off 125-ish sort of thing. That's kind of where I think he is actually, or his ability should have him. I think there's so much more to come from him, and I think he can go and win this and then probably turn up for the Imperial Cup and go very close in that. This is a race I think they'll be trying to win. I know the Imperial Cup is worth more money, but it would be risky to get him dropped any further on the basis that last year he actually ran off 10 stone in the Imperial Cup off 122. 119, he wouldn't get in officially, he'd be out of the handicap and the jockey would be effectively wasting his claim. So, yeah, I think Affadil is the one to beat here in this race. You can currently get 11 to 4. 3's an outlier, 7 to 2's an outlier. So 11 to 4. But I think he is the one to beat in this race. You've got to remember he went off 3 to 1 favourite for this last year. And I think there's more in his favour this year. 220 at Musselburgh. And this was the second horse that I posted in my analysis a few weeks ago, or whenever it was, talking about another horse that I think will take all of the beating. That was in the Scottish Champion Chase, and it was Insurrection. Now, at the time, Insurrection was 4th, 5th favourite, I think. You can see he is now favourite. Get rid of those horrible ads. What have I done here? Let's just go back. I'm just going to pause the video whilst I get rid of this. Okay, we're back. Yeah, Insurrection. I thought that effort last time out when third at Musselburgh over this 2.5 mile trip was a very good effort. When I thought he was going to win when he made a bad mistake 3 out. That came off a mark of 139 and Freddie Ginger was riding. What I'm saying is he should have won off 139. In hindsight, it might work out quite nicely because he got beat. The handicapper did not move his mark. And he gets to have Freddie Keithley on board this time, who takes a very useful 7 off. Freddie Keithley is a better jockey than a £7 claimer. He'll be rapidly running through his claim. He's a very good jockey, very competent, and I see no reason why he isn't used a lot more, because that £7 is massive. The horse Insurrection has been to Musselburgh before, and he won the Frodon Novices Handicap Chase off a mark of 134, but he won it by 16 lengths from Asta La Pasta. So although he's £5 higher, or you could say he's actually £2 lower when you take into account the claim of Freddie Keithley, he beat Asta La Pasta, and you're like, yeah, but maybe Asta La Pasta is just rubbish. Well, he was rated 132 that day. He's now rated 136 because just 2 runs later, that horse went and won at Ayr by 37 lengths. And has recently ended the season finishing second in another handicap. So there was nothing wrong with the form of Asta La Pasta. He just comfortably beat him. Clearly loves Musselburgh. Nicely handicapped. A good prep run. Went third on his return. I can't see any reason why he doesn't go really close here. 7 to 2 is available. Yeah, I think that's fair. Final one at Musselburgh is in the 4:11, the 3 mile handicap chase, and you can see that I like Kels here. And the reason for that is I think this is an easier race than what he ran in, than what he's been running in, and also I don't think there's a horse that's been plotted for this race. Last time out he got beat by a plot horse. He got beat by Fortunate Man, who was returning to Aintree having won the race the year before, and he got beat by him. But to be fair to Kels ran him all the way to the line. I say all the way to the line. He got beat by 3 lengths, but was, they were 12 lengths clear of third. He was the only horse that was able to go with Fortunate Man and at least give him a race. I don't feel there's a horse in this race like that's been plotted to return and try and win a race. None of these have actually won over the course, so it's not like we've got a course specialist coming back. Connor Farrell gets back on board. Connor rode him to win at Wetherby in March of 2025. The amateurs have given him good rides, or decent rides, but if there's a little bit more to come from under Connor, again, I don't feel this is the strongest of races. Again, I mentioned for a previous race, there's only one previous winner, as in last time out winner. That was Sammy Smart. Sammy Smart's a 10-year-old. Not got a lot of improvement in that horse. He's actually running off at the highest mark he's ever been off, 114. He's never been rated that high. Why on earth at 10 would he be good enough to suddenly start winning off those types of marks? I don't believe he is. Kelsey's actually the youngest in the race. Probably a bit more to come. Conor O'Farrell back on board. Bumped into one last time. There's so many positives there for me. And he's currently available at... no prices at the moment. I would be looking at 7-2 or bigger, to be honest. I think that would be a fair price for him. I'm hoping that Sammy Smart makes the market because he's the favourite, and maybe they look at some of the others, the Wrexham's special rate, because they've had recent seconds. I know Kels also had a recent second, but you know, they might look at the Northern trained runners and go, oh, that's better form. If Insurrection goes and wins at Musselburgh tomorrow, that could actually shorten the price of Wrexham, who had previously finished in front of Insurrection. So you might get a better price if one of our horse wins. But yeah, I think Kels is the one to beat here. And I am happy with anything above around 7-2, I guess. Okay, now we move on to Leopardstown. As I've mentioned, if it's off, I apologise for the rest of this video. You can obviously just ignore it. But if it's on, who do I like? First race, the 2 mile 6 grade 1. Dr. Steinberg. Don't see any reason to take him on, to be honest. Let's have a look. What is he now? Is he odds on yet? Not yet. 5-4, 6-5. 5-4 is available. Couldn't knock his form. To be fair. Got beaten a bumper 2 runs ago. Not interested in that. Not that I'm not interested. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. You can be beaten in bumpers. 2 from 2 over hurdles. Last time out was beating the Devil You Know in a grade 2. The Devil You Know has had both come into that race in good form and has since franked that form. The Devil You Know's defeat of Skylight Hustle looks a good bit of form, and then went to Doncaster and won very impressively in a grade 2, the River Don. That looked a really strong bit of form from the Devil You Know, and the fact that Dr. Steinberg was able to beat him just suggests to me that Dr. Steinberg is well above average. 2 mile 6, not an issue. He made all the running last time. I think that's probably what they're going to try again. Try and make all the running. They might think he's a 3 miler. And if he is, yeah, I think he takes all of the beating here, to be honest. He comfortably beat the Devil You Know. And the Devil You Know has, as I said, really franked that form with a comfortable win at Doncaster. Would not be taking on Dr. Steinberg in this race, even with him being quite a short price. 150 at Leopardstown. The grade 1 for juveniles. Unoriginal. Would not be taking on Narciso Haas. This is one of those Willie Mullins stepped forward on their second run jobbies this season. Only beaten 2.5 lengths or 2 3/4 lengths by Monge 2 when probably needing the run. Just like a lot of them, as I mentioned, the likes of Jade de Grugy, Carges. There's been plenty of others that I can't think off the top of my head right now that have stepped forward massively from their first to their second runs. And if Narciso Haas needed that run at Fairyhouse when second in that grade 3, not that beaten that far by Monge 2, the fact that Monge 2 is supposedly the danger, I think Narciso Haas can reverse that form quite comfortably. A very, very good effort last time out in the grade 2. A real impressive performance from Narciso Haas. That bit of form is what I think will hold up here, and yeah, I don't see Narciso Haas getting beat here. The others, they're priced accordingly. They're priced because, yes, they've had wins, but not in the right races, in weaker races, and we all know the potential and ability already shown by Narciso Haas is better than what the others have. So yeah, it's unoriginal, but Narciso Haas, I should take all of the beating in that race. 225. We go to a handicap hurdle over 3 mile, where we have highlighted 2, as you can see. Both trained by Gordon Elliott. Both interesting. The first one is Son of Anarchy. Son of Anarchy is running here over 3 mile, having been a very eye-catching third at Navan last time out, when clearly needing further now. Ran on all the way to the line. If it had been over 3 mile, I would suggest that Son of Anarchy probably would have won that. Gets the step up and trip that he probably needs, and runs in a handicap for only the 3rd time. Previous efforts, as I mentioned, that good third and a win over 2 mile 3 when going clear, and comfortably winning off 118. Yes, the horse is higher now. He's rated 130. But his effort last time out, when rated 128, should stand him in good stead. I think he's plenty good enough to get involved here, and I'm hoping that he can run a really nice race here. I think he's got lots of ability, and the 3 mile trip can certainly bring out more of that ability. The second horse is an interesting one in Wendrock at 12s. And the reason I think Wendrock is interesting is I looked at the horse's form, and I thought his 5th placed effort last time out screamed Martin Pipe to me, as in that's the race that we're going to go for, the Martin Pipe. But they've stepped him up in trip here to 3 mile, but the jockey is my concern, not because he's a poor jockey, but because it's another conditional jockey. That'll be 3 out of 4 races, that 3 of the last 4 he's been ridden by a conditional jockey. Is that so they can get an understanding of the horse, so that they can go and run a big race, try and win the Martin Pipe at the Cheltenham Festival. The Martin Pipe, which is restricted to conditional jockeys. If that's not the case, and they're coming here and they've already got one for that race, obviously Gordon won it with a very progressive Wadhoo last year. If they've already got one for that, and they're just coming here because the 3 mile trip is what's going to step this horse into, bring him into a new level, he's actually got some decent form to his name. 6th in a Fred Winter over 2 mile, 5th in a Grade 1 over 2 mile, 3rd in a Grade 2 over 2 mile, and even 2 runs ago was going off just 7-2 for a Grade 3 against Talk the Talk, who's now one of the favourites for the Supreme Novice, and Mercia, who had previously won a Grade 1 at, was it Punchestown or Aintree? Had won a Grade 1 at Aintree, beating Live Conti, and then finishing 4th to Lalamba at Punchestown. The form is there from Wendrock. And if Wendrock is actually a 3 miler that's been running these efforts over 2 mile, and then ran a really eye-catching 5th, staying on all the way to the line over 2.5, this 3 mile trip could see this horse, really step forward. And considering he's actually been rated as high as 137, he's dropped now down to a mark of 130. Josh takes 5 off. He's running off 125. He could be thrown in if this 3 mile trip is actually what he needs. Another positive for him, he's been to Leopardstown before. He's won a maiden hurdle. Yes, he disappointed in the Grade 1, but it was the Grade 1 at the Dublin Racing Festival last year. When he raced up there, he weakened quickly. Is it that he weakened quickly, or that he just didn't have the pace to go that speed over that 2 mile trip? Yeah, I think he's a very interesting horse. I've got to back him here, but if he gets beat or runs nicely and maybe fades late on, keep an eye out for Wendrock in that Martin Pipe at the Cheltenham Festival. So I'm backing both of them, Son of Anarchy and Wendrock. Moving on, 3:30. Not interested in the 255. The 3-runner chase featuring Romeo Coolio and Carges and another that I can't think who it is that isn't going to win. Moving on to the Irish Gold Cup. Galopin de Champs for me. Couple of angles. Very, very good at Leopardstown. Got some great form at Leopardstown. I think it's something like 5 wins and a third. I'm just going to run through his form. 6th in a Grade 1 over 2 mile. Won a beginner's chase. Won a Grade 1 chase. won an Irish Gold Cup, won a Savills Chase, won an Irish Gold Cup, won a Savills Chase, won an Irish Gold Cup, third in the Savills Chase. I wasn't disappointed with that effort, to be fair. Finished third, not beaten that far, looked like he was going to win it for a long way. But what have I been saying about these Willie Mullins horses? So many of them have needed that first run and then stepped forward. Carges, Jade de Grugy, Narciso Haas, to name a few that are right on the top of my head at the moment. I think we're going to see the exact same thing here from Galopin Des Champs. He's going to step forward from that return and win. I really think he'll win this. His Leopardstown form is so good. He clearly hasn't lost his ability. I think he beat kind of the right horses in this race last year as well, in that he beat the horse that had more stamina in Grange Clare West. He beat the horse that had more speed in Factifile, and he beat the future Gold Cup winner in I Know the Way You're Thinking. I think we'll see something very similar again. Galopin Des Champs might beat the horse with more stamina, I Am Maximus, the horse with more speed, Factifile, and the not the future Gold Cup winner, I Know the Way You're Thinking. I think he'll get beat this year in the Gold Cup at Cheltenham. But I Know the Way You're Thinking, I can see him running about the same sort of position. Fall for fifth again, and then stepping forward on that at Cheltenham, but this time Galopin Des Champs actually beating him. I don't see... I can't take on Galopin Des Champs in this race. What price is he? He's not a big price at all. Currently available at 6 to 4. 13 to 8 is available. I think he's the one to beat. Still got question marks about Gaelic Warrior over this trip. Factifile definitely over this trip. Affordale Fury had the fitness. I Know the Way You're Thinking doesn't get going at this point. As I said, I Am Maximus is interesting. He will be staying on. But surely they've got other races in mind with him, i.e. the Grand National. Same for him and Grange Clare West. Both of those will be interesting if they return to the Grand National. Off similar-ish marks. I mean, if I Am Maximus gets well beaten here and Grange Clare West gets well beaten, they could drop a few pound in the handicap. Grange Clare West was third off 163 in the Grand National. I Am Maximus third off 167. They're currently rated a pound higher, each of those in Ireland. Get them both beat, win the race with Galopin Des Champs. Willie Mullins has had it right off, hasn't he? So, yeah, I'm sticking with Galopin Des Champs in that race. And finally, the 405, which is the 2x1 handicap chase, and I'm going for a big price horse here. We are going for... Where is he? Down here. Just about getting shortened now. 14s is still available. And Pion Dog. I'm hoping I've said that close to being correct. I apologise for the very poor pronunciation. So, why do I like him? He won the race last year. Off a mark of 122, when sent off 8 to 1. Okay. Beat my mate Mozzie, who went on to run a really good race at the Cheltenham Festival. Finished 4th that day, off a £3 higher mark. Then finished a good 8th at Aintree. Disappointed in a flat race, but you can ignore that. I imagine I think they're waiting with my mate Mozzie to come back for that Grand Annual again. I'm not sure. So I think Pierre Darg beat the right horse. Would have won it off 128 last year. Only went off 8 to 1. Has won twice at the track over course and distance. Had a prep run in October. And then I feel they might have come to Leopardstown last time with two things in mind. One, if you can go and win the race, go and win the race. However, if you don't, make sure he gets beat far enough that you drop him in a handicap. And the owners actually had released the Beast that day, who went off the 7 to 2 favourite. Now, would you want Ampien Darg to be going up in the handicap, potentially finishing 2nd or 3rd, if you thought you could win the race, and ruin his chance of coming back here to win this one? I think that was a clever bit of placement from the owner. He wanted to have 2 in the race, one with a chance of trying to win it, and one with a chance of trying to get his mark dropped for a return to this one. I think that's what they've done. Well, they have done it. They've got him dropped a couple of pound for that. He was badly hampered at the fourth last, and after that Shane gave up. I think we'll see a much better performance this time, and hope that he can bounce back to the form that he showed when winning this race last year. Bigger price. You can get 14s. I think he'll go off sub 10s tomorrow. If he doesn't, I think they've missed a trick with him. He should get well supported, in my opinion, because I think they might have been aiming at this race since the get-go because of Release the Beast, their other horse that they had, who they probably thought could win that race back in December. So there's my thoughts. Hopefully we do get Leopardstown on. If not, hopefully you haven't wasted your time watching the analysis for Leopardstown, and we can just have winners at Sandown and Musselburgh then.